You probably tap on dozens of these little app icons every single day. But have you ever really stopped to think about the journey that icon took to get to your screen? I mean, it starts as just an idea, right? And then it becomes this tool that millions of people might end up using. Well, today, we're going to follow that exact path, from that first spark of inspiration all the way to a global launch right on your phone.
So, our journey has 5 main stops. First up, we're going to get to know the world we're in. What is Android, really? Then, we'll look at the blueprint for every single app that gets built. After that, we'll watch an app take its very first steps, see how it's brought to life with all its cool features. And finally, we'll see its grand opening on the world stage, the Google Play Store.
All right, first things first. You can't build a house without understanding the land it's on, right? So, let's figure out what exactly this world of Android is all about.
Okay, so think of Android as this incredibly powerful toolbox that every developer just gets for free. That's what open source means. And it is packed with superpowers. Multitasking is what lets you listen to a podcast while you're looking up directions. Media support and connectivity are basically why your phone is your camera, your TV, and you're linked to the entire world all in one little device. Every app you use is built with these fundamental tools.
So we have the tools, but how do they all fit together? It turns out that every single app, from the simplest little calculator to a massive 3D game, is built on the exact same blueprint. Let's go take a look at that architecture.
The easiest way to wrap your head around this is to picture a 5-story building. Every single floor has a specific job, but it completely depends on the floor below it for support. You just can't have a penthouse without a solid foundation.
Let's start at the very bottom. The foundation is something called the Linux kernel. It's the only part that talks directly to the physical hardware. Your screen, your camera, all that stuff. Go one level up, and you've got platform libraries and the Android runtime. That's like the building's engine room. Above that is the application framework, which is the toolkit developers actually use to build. And then, finally, way up on the top floor, that's where your apps live, the ones you actually tap on. It all rests on that solid foundation.
Now, deep inside that engine room is a really important piece of machinery, the Dalvik Virtual Machine, or DVM for short. If a computer's engine is built for a racetrack, the DVM is this marvel of efficiency. It's custom-built to just sip fuel and run smoothly in the tight space of your phone, which saves a ton of memory and battery life.
So what makes this mobile engine so different from, say, the one in a big desktop computer? Well, imagine a computer's engine needs its instructions written on these big, separate sheets of paper. The DVM, though, is designed for smaller, way more efficient instructions, all written on a single optimized scroll. And that big difference is what allows it to be so fast and light on your phone's memory. It's a huge reason why Android can juggle so many apps so smoothly.
Okay, we've got our blueprint. Now it's time to actually start construction. When a developer clicks New Project, what do they even get? What does a brand new, totally empty Android app look like?
When a developer starts out, they get this really clean set of folders. The Java folder is basically for the app's brain, all the code. The res folder is for its body, the images, the layout files. And then there's the manifests folder, which holds the app's official passport. This one file tells the Android system everything it needs to know: its name, what it does, and what it needs to function.
All right, here's a question for you. Think about how you use your phone. What is actually going on behind the scenes when you're jumping between a game, your messages, and then back to the game?
The answer is something called the activity lifecycle. Every single screen and every single app follows these exact steps. It gets created, it starts, and it resumes when you're using it. But the second a phone call comes in, it pauses. If you switch away to another app, it stops. And this isn't just for organization. This strict set of rules is how your phone is so brilliant at saving battery and memory, by only giving resources to the app you're looking at right now.
Okay, so our app has a structure, has a life cycle, it exists. Now let's make it actually look good and give it the power it needs to be useful. It's time to build the user interface and deal with permissions.
These right here are the fundamental building blocks, the digital Lego bricks of any app screen. You've got text view to show some text, edit text so a user can type something in, and of course, buttons. Developers combine these simple pieces to create every single screen you've ever interacted with.
So, we've built the part you can see. But what about the invisible stuff? What happens when an app needs to get into the sensitive parts of your phone, like your camera or your contacts list?
Well, it all goes back to that official passport file we talked about. Before an app can even think about doing something sensitive, the developer has to declare it right there. This single line of code, for example, is a formal declaration that this app wants the ability to send SMS messages.
And Android is incredibly smart about this. It sorts permissions into different risk levels. Normal things like setting your time zone are just granted automatically, no big deal. But for anything dangerous, anything that wants to touch your private photos or your contacts or your location, the whole system stops and asks you, the user, directly. That pop-up isn't an annoyance. It's the system putting the final decision right in your hands.
Okay, our app is built, it looks good, and it's got the powers it needs. There's only one thing left to do. It's time for the final and most exciting step, sharing it with the entire world.
This is pretty much the final checklist before launch. I know it looks like a lot, but it's a really clear path. A developer pays a one-time $25 fee, they create their store page with all the screenshots and descriptions, and then they upload the final app file. They have to do a content rating, decide if the app's going to be free or paid, and then, after one last review, they hit the button that sends it out to millions of people. And just like that, the journey's complete. We've gone from a simple idea to understanding the architecture of Android itself, to watching how an app is built and given life, all the way to the final steps of launching on the Play Store.
So the next time you download an app, you're going to see more than just a cool little icon. You'll see the blueprint, the life cycle, and the whole journey it took to get there. Now that you have the map, from a simple idea to a finished icon, the only question left is, what will you build?